Hello and welcome to Shades in Justice podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Evelyn Hill, and you can always catch me at www.drevelynhill.net. Oh my goodness, my audience, do we have a fabulous set of guests on this evening? We have the one and only Kathleen Watkins. And just when you can't be excited enough, we have Miss Carolyn Stampley. And then we have a special guest, Miss Angela Barnes. Welcome, ladies.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Well, I'm just super excited. Let me tell you why. You all are getting ready to do a book launch in Oklahoma. And this book launch is going to be so different from anything that I've been to this year. We did the book Women Voices of Women Unleashed in Justice, and both Kathleen and Carolyn were authors along with myself. We were all co-authors of this book. But at this book launch, Carolyn and Kathleen are not being selfish. They have opened it up to other authors. And so I can't hardly wait to hear from Miss Angela Barnes as she shares a little bit about her book. But before we get into that, and I know the book that you were part of that anthology, I can't wait till you share the title of the book and then the piece that you wrote. But before we get into all that, I would love for each one of you all to share a little bit about yourself, your childhood, where you grew up, and how did you end up in Oklahoma City? Miss Carolyn, would you like to start?
Yes, I suppose I would. I am Carolyn Stampley. I am originally from Kansas City, Missouri, and I now live in Oklahoma, which I've been here over 30 years now. So I'm truly an Oklahoman. And the way I got to Oklahoma is I followed my church group down this way to Oklahoma to be a part of a church that we wanted to grow in and grow with. And I guess I should also say I am a mother, I'm a grandmother. I am actor with Spiritually Bowed Incorporated, and I'm
Wow.
also a writer. I've been writing all my life, but I've never been in a book. So it's so exciting for me to be a part of this and be in this book of Voices of Women Unleashed.
All right. Thank you, Miss Carolyn. Miss Kathleen, tell us a little about you.
Okay, I would be happy to. I am Kathleen Watkins, and I am originally from Kissimmee, Florida. That's right.
Oh,
Uh, this is really where Disney World is. I tell everybody that because they think it's in Orlando, but it's in Kissimmee. And and
okay.
uh, and strangers call it Kissimmee. Yeah.
Ah,
Mhm. I have been here though in Oklahoma City since 1977. So that means that now I have lived here longer than I did in Kissimmee. So yeah, I guess you could say that I've been here for a long time. When I first came here, it was only me and my two oldest children. And now I have what I added one to it, and it's about 25 of us here. That's
oh,
because I have 11 grandchildren and 12 great grands.
oh
So
my.
yeah, so I have bragging rights on that.
Yes,
I am
ma'am.
very proud of that. But
Yes.
yeah, I um I am I am an I'm also an author.
Mhm.
I penned my first book in 2019. The name of it is I Can Smell the Coffee dot, 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 now. And the dot, dot, dot stands for that time span. Because it took me a
Oh.
long time. I was a slow learner in life.
Mhm.
Let's just say that. Uh, I'm also an award-winning playwright. I
Wow.
have I have written I have written I would probably about 40 plays. I'm the founder of Spiritually Bold Inc., which is a community theatrical group here, and we perform plays throughout the Oklahoma City Metroplex. And I write African American history plays
Mm-hmm.
because I am a student of history. Now, what I'm excited about tonight, though, is being a part of this anthology,
Mm-hmm.
Voices of Women Unleashed in Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Are we to talk about the name of our chapter now, or are you going to?
We'll come back to that. This is just a little bit about you personally,
Okay.
and anything else you'd like to share in regards to what you do. I know you mentioned you as an author and a screenwriter,
Mhm.
screenplaywright, and
Mhm.
anything else. Not
Okay.
not that that's not enough, but I just
Yeah.
know you're a very busy lady.
Yeah, well, I'm also a co-founder of The Link, which is an African American history discussion group. We've been around for 7 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Sunday school teacher, youth Sunday, really youth director, and I am a minister, certified minister.
Awesome. I learned more about you
Yeah.
tonight than I have all these years I've known you. That's awesome.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So those yeah, I'm very, very, very very happy really to be um a minister, a Sunday school teacher. I really enjoy teaching Sunday school to the young people.
Uh-huh.
I think it's
Awesome.
probably helped me probably more than it's helped them, to be honest. But anyway, that's enough for now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And Miss Angela Barnes, tell us a little bit about you, your childhood, and how did you get to Oklahoma City?
Wow, thank you. I'm so excited to be here today. I'm
Mm-hmm.
Angela Barnes, and yes, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. And
Oh.
yeah, my family moved to California when I was 4. So I
Mhm.
actually was raised in Compton, California. That's where I went to
Okay.
high school. I've been living here in Oklahoma, since 1989. So that's over 30 years now.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
I didn't think I was going to be here in Oklahoma that long, but I raised 4 children here. I have
Mm-hmm.
9 grandchildren, and they're in different places. I have 4 grandchildren that are in Kansas, and then um, one in California, and then I have not California, but Atlanta, and then
Uh-huh.
I have 3 here.
Mm-hmm.
What else about me? I love to write. I love
Yes.
to write, and I'm a co-author of 2 book anthologies, and
Oh.
and I like to call myself a change agent because I worked 20 years with the University of Oklahoma State University for 20
Mm-hmm.
years and retired there as a teacher and a program coordinator, where I work with
Uh-huh.
lots of women, different women, and single parents. So I like to say that I'm a change agent,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to be able to continue to help women lead to higher standards. But as far
Mm-hmm.
as anything else, I grew up in a 2-parent household,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what to say. I have my parents were very good parents and would really raised me into, more of like a Christian home style. And it's just, I always say, life is like puddles. You never know what you're going to step in and how deep it's going to be when you actually sit in it. And
Oh
so
my, girl, that'll
things
preach
change.
right there. That'll preach. Life is like a puddle. I like
Yeah.
that one.
But yeah, so that's just a little bit about me, and a lot of it we'll get a chance to meet me as we go along today with all the things
Yes,
that we had to talk about today. Thank you for
yes. Well,
having me here.
oh, I'm so excited you are part of this evening, and I'm just, I don't share usually too much about me, but I will let you know that I am a justice advocate. I am one of the co-founders of the Wyandotte County Justice and Equity Coalition, and now have started my own 501(c)(3) called Justice and Equity for Life. I'm also a county commissioner here in Kansas City, Kansas. I actually grew up on the Missouri side, Kansas City, Missouri, with four younger sisters, and Carolyn is one of those younger sisters. And but I've been over here in Kansas since the 70s. So I've been here for a minute. So I tell people all the time, I'm a trans dot. I transferred over to Wyandotte many, many years ago. But let's get into our evening. This book launch that you all are doing, it's so different, and that's why I'm so excited. We'll be able to share these unique stories on tonight. So one of the things I noticed is that you all had these other authors come in. Alan is another one that will be in the book launch, and your book launch is November the 9th in Oklahoma City from 1 to 3 p.m. And tell me, all of you all can tell me, why did you decide to do a book launch and be a part of this book launch? And what makes your book launch more exciting than most? We'll start with Kathleen this time.
Okay, thank you for that question. Well, let me tell you, we had such a fantastic time in Kansas City this summer. It was just awesome. And there was so much chatter about, your Debbie, your sister, about she
Yeah.
was saying we're gonna have one in Minnesota, And so of course Carolyn and I did not want to be outdone.
All
And,
right.
and so we wanted to introduce our book
Mhm.
first of all, because I kept saying, I got to put this in the paper. I like to put everything in a paper because it's my way of documenting
Yeah.
everything. And yeah, I know it's going to be there. And so I said, but first I gotta be going somewhere with it. And
Mhm.
so we said, well, we'll go ahead and do a book launch, a book signing. And the thing was that we did not we were just thinking, well, here we are, we're going into the holiday season. We thought about that, but then
Uh-huh.
we quickly justified all of that by saying this is a good time. People are buying Christmas gifts. What
Yes.
better gifts than books?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Carolyn and I both know Angela pretty well. We all
Mhm.
of us are Toastmasters actually. And so yeah, so we know each other through Toastmasters. And I knew that Angela I knew she was a part of one anthology. I didn't know that she was also a part of another. And so we asked her, add a little flavor to it.
Yes.
And then Alan is is my director in Spiritually Bold. Yeah, and so he has a book
Uh-huh.
also. And so we said, why not? Why not? And you see the way we're promoting it as a book signing like none other. I
All
love
right.
like none other. And I think it is a book signing like none other. We have the anthologies. What is that? Three anthologies. That's
Yeah.
pretty. Uh-huh. Yeah. And so we're looking at what all in all, let's see, about 6 books among us.
Oh my, that
So
is
yeah,
awesome.
yes, it's about 6 books among us. So I thought it would just be a great time to introduce our books
Hmm.
to Oklahoma City.
Hmm.
I think that our location is a great place to have it. Very
Hmm.
welcoming atmosphere, and I think that everybody's gonna just have a good time. I do.
I
Great book. We have a great program lined up.
All right. Well, I know one thing. I'm excited. I'm trying to get my little stuff together to get the right shoes to match with all my
Uh,
little stuff. So I'm excited about it. And I've talked to Coach Crystal. She's already gearing up, and Dr. Diana from Houston is gearing up. So wow, this is gonna be, like you say, like none other. So awesome. So, Miss Carolyn, what do you um, have to say about this book signing, and uh, why did you decide to be a part of this? You could have let Kathleen go at it alone, but you jumped right in there.
Oh, I'm not gonna let Kathleen steal all the thunder. I really am happy to be a part of this book launch. Again, just like Kathleen said, when we went to Kansas City for the first book launch of Voices of Women Unleashed, it made us feel so special as authors, like each one of us was included in this big event that was happening. And so bringing it here to Oklahoma, and it was just when Kathleen said, let's do this. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to pull this off. I have to tell you, to me, it is. I mean, for some that are used to doing it, maybe not. But to me, this is a big ordeal. And in order to make the women and even Alan, because we have a man now, to make the authors feel special, we're going to
Hmm.
roll out the red carpet
Okay.
for for the author to come down and be a part and feel special walking down a red carpet. It's here at my house right now. My sister from Minnesota has already shipped it. And then we have a big backdrop that's going to be there to state that this is the Voices of Women Unleashed book. And I think just being at the Last Drop Coffee House, all in itself is so much to look at in that coffee shop. It really is. And the atmosphere will be great. The unique thing about the coffee house is that the owner does not charge you for your coffee. You can donate whatever cost that you feel your coffee is worth, or if you want to donate at all. So this is very, very special place, and I'm glad to be able to bring people in so that we can support him. And I do hope that everyone comes out. I think it's going to be an event like none other.
Can I just add something to the owner of the place, Mr. Stan Engel? He is
Hmm.
a musician first and foremost, and so we will have music.
Oh,
Also, yeah,
okay.
he's a musician, and also he's also an author, and so
Uh-huh.
he'll probably be selling his book too. And he let me know that there is an artist who would like to share her paintings there. So it's going to be just loaded with talent and artistic creations. Okay,
Oh my
a
goodness.
a book signing like none other. That's what it
All
is.
right. So you revealing more and more secrets as we go. So Miss Angela, you got your skates on? Are you ready to slide in on this big
I
event?
am. I am really ready. Um, when Carolyn, so I met with Carolyn and I wanted to get her book because the Voices of Women Unleashed Injustice, I was like, I
Uh-huh,
gotta read this book. And so when
uh-huh.
we were talking, she was like, well, we may have a book launch. Would you be interested in doing it? I'm saying, yes, I would be. Now, what I really thought was so special about that is because I had not marketed my book. I
Mhm.
had not marketed this second book. I launched the other book, but when it was in 2020 when this book was published, and I
Oh.
hadn't had an opportunity to even
Mhm,
talk to anybody about it, or I hadn't got it out there, hadn't got my story
mhm,
out there. I just was ready to push this information out to people.
mhm.
And when she told me, I'm like, yes, this is a good time to do this. Um, with the story that I wrote, with today's environment and situations going
Mhm,
on, I'm thinking this
mhm,
is a good time to talk about my book and to get
mhm.
it out there. So when she told me, that's how I got involved, just knowing that there's women author writers and people who are out there really trying to change. And that's,
Yes.
again, that's what I'm about. Just it's changing, and the things
Mhm,
that stories that we can actually tell
mhm,
to different people. And so
mhm.
that's why I feel like having all of us together all at one time in this event is going to be an awesome, awesome event. You get to hear different stories about us authors and books that we want to share with our audience. And
Mhm.
basically all of it, it has something where we're gonna be able to change other people's lives. So that's
Oh
what
yeah.
I am so excited about. It's all really about just collaboration, being able to
Yeah.
meet people and just going out there and um, uh, fellowshipping really. So
Uh-huh.
I'm excited about this event, and I'm so um, I appreciate it so much that Kathleen and Carolyn has invited me to this event on this November that's coming up.
Yes. Well, we're excited too, and we're super excited to meet you in person. So now, ladies, I would like, if you don't mind, each of you all to share a little bit about what you wrote about. I am just so inspired and encouraged by what I saw Kathleen and Carolyn, what they wrote in the book, Voices of Women Unleashed in Justice. It was absolutely awesome. But Miss Angela, when you shared with me the title of the book that you are a part of, the anthology, I could not wait to hear about your chapter. What did you write about? You want to just jump right back in, Miss
Yeah,
Angela, and tell us about your chapter and the book you wrote in.
absolutely. First of all, the book is called Grown Woman Shit, SHIT. It stands for Shifting How I Think. So that's the name of the book.
Uh-huh.
And it was written again. It was written in 2020. It really was just like a touch of inspiration to help women just shift their lives to different stories things that they have gone through, maybe different tragedies of their lives that has happened. Um, it's about those things that some women may not want to share about their
Right.
lives.
Yes.
And so I wrote the story. The story of my title is called Shame Behind the Shutters. And it's
Ooh.
a story about my teenage and my young life and the things that I had to endure um, as a young teenager, living in the, actually grew up in the 70s, the late 70s. And so uh, this book, it really, it creates a path of like self-awareness of people. And I say especially women, and for we can help teenagers and young girls learn how to shift and think about the experiences that they are making and the choices that they're making for their lives. And so that's what that my story is. It talks about those things that I went through when I was a young child. I had to make some changes in my life. And I decided, yes, I'm going to share this story. I believe it's someone out there that need to hear about the story. So yeah, this the author of that collaborated with the story. Her name is Simone Rivers. She's actually she's a TED Talk. She's done a TED Talk, and she's actually has a couple of books, but she was my mentor to help me write this story. And I believe it's just a way to open up women about things that they may need to share. And I think it's a good time to do this as far as shifting the way the political system right now is shifting, and different laws that have come up in the world that shifted a lot of different thinking. And I would just say one thing: reproduction rights. And so my book has a lot to do with making changes to our bodies, women having the right to change our bodies and having that right. And I just think it's a good time to be able to share my story so that women will have to understand it. It's okay for making difficult choices in their life, and also to believe that the choices that they have made in their life, it will help and lead them to higher standards. So just to not go really into much about that, but I've grown up and I've shifted, and I would say for sure the shift is really real. But and the way that we talked about the word SHIT is because maneuver. We
Yes.
gotta sometimes we gotta get it out, and you gotta push it out, and you gotta fire it out sometimes. Wait a second. And that's what this is about. Women being able to shift their lives to higher standards.
That is so awesome. Being able to shift uh, in life, and so often when you talk about manure and how it gets, it's in you. You got to push it out. Sometimes it gets stuck, and we're stuck, and we got to find a way to get a lubricant of some sort that'll get that out of us. And it's the same thing with us emotionally. Sometimes we're stuck emotionally. We got to figure out a way to filter all the unforgiveness, all the hurt, all the pain, allow that Holy Spirit to move on us and help us shift and push that stuff out. So thank you so much
Oh,
for
you're welcome.
sharing that.
Absolutely.
I saw Carolyn's face when I said that, so I'm not going to go any deeper into that, but I am going to ask Carolyn to share a little bit about her chapter, and then once Carolyn gets through, we'll ask Miss Kathleen if she will share about her chapter.
Well, I want to say it's hard to come behind that for sure. Oh, the name of my chapter is Do Yourself Justice. It is about domestic violence and how to get help in a domestic violence situation. A lot of times women and even men, they will run and help anybody else. They will help anybody else. They will save their children. Don't let anybody mess with our children for sure, because we will put up a fight for our children. But in this book, I try to encourage women to fight for themselves. And I tell my story about, not being able or not in a situation where I could fight for myself. And I try to give information that will help women in domestic violence situations, and not just women, men also. And this actually being October, it's a good time to talk about this. And what I recognized um, just listening to other women's stories and stories that I've been hearing on the news, that all of our stories almost sound just alike. We've been through so much, but at least we are finding help. At least they're putting it on the TV. At least they're advertising it now a little bit more. There is help for you. And I am glad that we do have a domestic violence month, which is the month of October, but it needs to be sounded aloud almost all the time, because people are in these situations and they don't know how to get out of them, and many times it costs them their lives. So that's what my chapter is about. Do yourself justice. But I also want to say in the book, Evelyn, that it's so many wonderful, wonderful stories in this book. So please, all the audience out there, we're just giving you a little glimpse, but these stories will have you smiling, laughing, crying, thinking, wondering. It is absolutely a good book and should be shared and should be read. So,
Thank you, Carolyn. And do you mind just sharing a little bit? There's a part in your story that just ripped my heart. It used the word pounding. Can you just share that little sniblet?
oh, well, I think because I was in a domestic violence situation, it came to a point where I thought that it was my last of days, because I was being fought, uh, actually abused, and my husband at the time had just started pounding me in the head, and I ended up putting a pillow over my head, and he just pounded and pounded me in the head. And when I got up the next morning, I looked at I go to look at my face in the mirror, and my head was just swollen. It was just abnormally swollen. And I didn't want my kids to see me like that. So I took my hair and I combed it down like in a bang so that they wouldn't worry. They didn't know. My kids didn't even know this was happening to me. And nobody, my family didn't know. Nobody knew that for years I had been in a domestic violence situation. But that's the part of the pounding that extremely hard. And like I say, I made it out, but a lot of people do not make it out and suffer with it for years. So again, the book is offering information for help for those that are in domestic violence situations.
Thank you, Carolyn. And Miss Kathleen, your chapter is extremely unique. And I didn't know how much I loved history until I read your story. It
Oh,
really, really helped me. And it's like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Right, right on. Back in
yeah.
the day, I heard you ladies, Carolyn didn't as much as you, other two ladies. You actually mentioned the 70s and the 80s. And I don't know if you remember, because I'm a justice advocate. Do you remember when James Brown did the song, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud? It was to kind of build us up. We had been beat
Mm,
down so much by the establishment to that was one of the things. And so they began to share our history, the strength that we had in our history. And of course, Martin Luther King was part of that strength. But even before Martin Luther King, women
oh, yeah.
have been very strong and very determined and have done inspirational feats in their lives, so much so that it has garnered the attention of millions of other women down through the decades. So I didn't mean to go off like that, Kathleen, but I just
Okay, just take
your
my
your
thunder.
chapter,
Okay.
your chapter was exciting to me because it explored our history, our rich history.
Yes. I, I am I really began to learn my history, or as I say, became a student of history about 13 years ago. And this was when I began to write the plays. And I was really ashamed that I didn't know so many things I didn't know about myself. And I thought, wow, girl, all these things were going on around you, and I didn't even know. In the, you know, in the 60s with the
Yeah.
Black Panthers and all, I said,
Yes.
wow. But I had no idea all of this was going on. The title of my chapter is War on Truth. Um,
Mm,
I chose to write on history because I feel so strongly about it, and I feel like in our history, such a great injustice has been done.
mm,
An injustice is when an individual or group of people have been treated unfairly, which
mhm,
results in disadvantages. And I
mhm,
think we can all attest to
mhm,
that, what has
mhm,
happened to us. So what I wanted to do, the reason I chose to write on this, because this one is one of the subjects that I am just very, very passionate about. And I thought this would be an opportunity for me to voice my thoughts and feelings on African American history and the importance of it. And like I always say, our words live on, they live on. And
mhm.
so having the opportunity to put my thoughts on paper about my history was very important to me. I open up the chapter with a famous quote by Marcus Garvey, where he says, "A people without knowledge of its past history, culture, or origin is like a tree without roots." That is
Mhm.
so deep.
It
That is
is.
so
Yes.
that's how I
Mhm.
began it. And then I
Mhm,
started with a story about how when I was about 15, I caught a Greyhound bus from Crystal River, Florida to Kissimmee, Florida to visit my cousins. This was in 67. Did not know that a few years before that, in 61, to be exact, that the Freedom Riders had made
yes.
all of this possible.
Yes.
No idea, just ignorant to the fact.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
and I do believe that if I had known all of this, then it would have meant so much more to me, because I got on the bus just thinking, that's what we've always been able to do. Get on the
Mhm.
bus, sit in the front, sit by a window, not have to worry about a white person telling us to get up. They want our seats. Mm-mm. Didn't have to experience that.
Mhm.
And I know that this is what's going on with so many of our young people now. They don't know their history.
They don't.
They don't.
Absolutely don't. Yeah.
Mm-mm. And of course, it has been a lot of it has not been told. It is not uh a lot of it is not shared in school. They do the
Mm-mm.
Rosa Parks story, the Martin Luther King, sir, all of that. But it's so much to
It's
us. There's
much more. Yes.
so much more to it.
Yeah.
And
From the Black inventors to the
mhm,
poets to the playwrights to the actors,
we are
it's the
everywhere.
musicians, the
We're
artists. It's just,
everywhere.
you're absolutely correct. Yes.
And we don't know it. And see, the thing is that children need, adults too, need to
Yes.
be able to identify. We need to
Mhm.
be able to connect.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And so if we don't know our culture, our heritage, then it's hard for us to, it's like, where do we belong?
Right.
In
right.
school, you hear all these stories. I talk about how we did reports on who was it? George Washington and the red coats and all of that, and never nothing about my people. I remember
That's
that
right.
so well. And it makes a difference. Like now, I also believe that we need representation as well. We need to be in a lot of positions so that our children can see us there. Because
Yes.
always told teachers told us you can't do that.
Hmm.
Black people don't do that. Why don't you just go somewhere, and be a janitor or whatever? Black people aren't doctors, they aren't scientists, and that's not
Hmm.
true. That is not.
Absolutely not. No, it's not true.
Yeah. And so that moved me so much. That's how the history discussion group got started. I was just so excited about it. I said, this has got to be shared. We got to talk about this, and
Mhm.
so and
You
so
know,
it's
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do want to, this little piece of history in Oklahoma. I had no idea that a whole part of Oklahoma City had been burnt down because of the entrepreneur experts who were African Americans that they became victims because of the prosperity that they lived in, and other populations could not stand the wealth, the prosperity that they enjoyed, so they just burned it down. That whole piece,
yes.
I didn't know about that. I was,
Nobody did. Nobody did. It was hidden. That was in Tulsa in the Greenwood
wow.
district. Yeah. And that was in
Okay.
1921.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they did? They when it was in the paper the next morning, but then they
Uh-huh.
just, like, I guess they hid it or burn it, and people, when they went to look for it again years later, nowhere to be found. A lot of people in Oklahoma did not, and not never heard of it. They hid it.
Wow.
That's why you're
Yes.
saying, I never heard of that. When
Mm-hmm.
did that happen? But yeah, it was a thriving
Yes.
music
Yes.
business district in Greenwood. We didn't.
Yes.
When they say that the black dollar, it doesn't stay in the community. Well, it stayed in the community.
There, yes,
Mhm.
yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, I tell you what, ladies, you all have inspired me. I can't hardly wait. I'm glad I got all
Got
my
me
little
hot.
stuff together,
Yeah. Mhm.
so I can come to Oklahoma and be a part of this uh, book signing like none other. So, any last words or words of wisdom before we leave? We get ready to wrap it up. This has been so exciting. And of course, whichever one of you would like, please make the last pitch about your event on November the 9th.
Would y'all like to?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Well,
Huh?
I'll make the last pitch.
Okay, we'll make the last. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
On November 9th at the Last Drop Coffee Shop on, I'm not sure the address right off, Kathleen,
5425.
5425 Lincoln Boulevard, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Please come out. We are going to have a book launch like none other. And we will be so excited to see you all. And we're so happy to share our stories with you. And we even want to share a little bit more about our stories when you come out. So please come. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful time.
Yeah, they're going to be
Yeah.
door prizes. We're going to have a Q&A session,
Ooh.
and yeah, and even just, a little discussion to kind of
Oh,
perk your interest in the book.
Mhm.
wow. Awesome.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's going to be
really,
really important that we're going to be able to that we're able to actually share some parts of our books. We'll get a chance to read some portions of our books to impede some more
Oh, y'all
questions.
showing out.
Yeah.
Y'all really showing out, aren't you?
yes,
Okay. Well,
yes,
ladies, thank
yes.
you, thank you, thank you. What a wonderful time we have shared. And I would like to encourage our listeners, check us out at uh, Shades Injustice Podcast at drevelynhill.net. You can also catch this particular show on our YouTube channel. So thank you again, ladies, for being with us on tonight, and have a fabulous evening. Goodbye.
Thank you
Until
for
next
having
time.
us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Bye
it.
bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.